is ready to start, please try to take seats.
This land was made for you and we. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, my friends, neighbors, dignitaries, and kin. A great afternoon to all of us gathered here on this sacred ground. I stand before you, Rose Weaver, a vessel of songs and stories, a voice echoing through time, carrying forth messages of freedom and peace, as we surely did wade through the water. Wade through the water, children. Wade through the water, 'cause God's gonna trouble the waters. And here we are, not by accident, but by intention, drawn by the currents of history to this very spot here in Bristol, Rhode Island. This place, so beautiful, so serene, yet it holds within its very soil the echoes of a past that demands our attention. It demands our remembrance, our healing, and peace as we lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. And what does the voice of me, Rose Weaver, bring to this sacred circle? Oh, I bring the whispers of our ancestors, carried on the ocean breeze, the resilience etched in every line of their journey. I bring the vibrant hues of untold narratives, painting a tapestry of struggle and triumph. Yes, my voice is like a resonant drum, beats with the rhythm of forgotten songs, awakening the spirit of justice and harmony. As we rise up, we'll rise like the day. We'll rise up. We'll rise unafraid. We'll rise up and do it 1,000 times again. Yes, we'll rise up high like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up and we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, and you. For you, I bring the gentle touch of understanding, weaving threads of empathy between hearts, bridging divides with the golden light of compassion. I am a keeper of the flame, igniting hope in the shadows, of a beacon guiding us towards a future where peace reigns supreme and freedom's song echoes eternally through these hallowed halls. Wade in the water. Why don't you sing a verse with me, a chorus? Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. One more way in the water. Way in the water, children. Way in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Yes, Dr. Martin Luther King said, like the ever-flowing water of a river, life has its moments of drought and its moments of flood. Like the ever-changing cycle of seasons, life has the soothing warmth of the summers and the piercing chill of the winters. But through it all, God walks with us. Never forget that God is able to lift us from the fatigue of despair to the buoyancy of hope and transform dark and desolate valleys into sunlit paths of inner peace. Dr. King said, let us break bread together on our knees. Let us break bread together on our knees. When I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on we. He also said the time is always right to do right. So we are here, not by accident, but by intent. I woke up this morning with my mind laid on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. So as we come together now, let us remember we are bound not just by this moment, but by the common threads of our shared humanity and by our breath. Ooh, we breathe the same air. We bleed the same red blood. In this circle of fellowship, there is no difference too great, no shadow too dark to overcome if we imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Ooh, imagine there's no countries. It's hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Someday I hope you'll join us and the world will live as one. Welcome to this sacred day, a symbol of healing, a promise that together we rise up above the wounds of history. We celebrate our strength and walk forward in unity, hand in hand, heart to heart. Here today and tomorrow we are one. one voice, one spirit, one community. Let us link arms then, or hold hands then, to show that we will continue to overcome. We will continue to overcome. We will continue to overcome. And we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. Hallelujah and amen.
It's quite a powerful beginning of our ceremony today. I would call Rose Weaver a genuine Rhode Island treasure. Accomplished actor, poet, playwright, and I think you sing too. But this is such a beautiful gathering here, so let me be the first among many going to say welcome. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for being here, being part of this very significant day as we see the creation of Spencer Evans and the efforts of the Bristol Middle Passage Port Marker Project. I am Stephan Brigidi. I'm one of the board members, part of the design team to get this particular thing done, and you will see the results very shortly. But it would be remiss of us if we didn't mention some that I call the unseen heroes, those that are responsible for the engineering effort, among other things, to get this foundation done. Peter Giorgetti is here, PAR Engineering. Thank you, Peter. And it was followed by Steve Bakios of East Coast Construction. I'm not sure if Steve is here. He's in the back. Thank you very much. And most of us Bristolians, latecomers or newcomers, or long-time Bristolians, we know very well Mike Dapont and the Dapont Landscaping Services, who did a great deal of work pouring the cement, laying the foundation. And the Hogan family of Warren Monument. I don't know if Ryan is here or any of the members of the family, but they laid the stone, they put the smaller pieces in, and made this right for the team from the Boccaccio Sculpture Services. And they worked in concert with our artist, Spencer Evans, every step of the way. So these are the people that we don't see because it's somewhat subterranean work. But I'm here today to introduce you to a series of peoples, but starting with our president, Bernard Freeman. A little bit about Bernard. He came here 3 years ago. I was one of his first friends, I'm proud to say, and I knew he was going to be an important member of our community. As he settled into Roger Williams Law School, he is the teacher there, and his proper title is the Director of the Study of Law and Racial Equity. And if I got it wrong, it's something like that, believe me. But he began his career working with the ACLU. He has always represented underrepresented populations, the homeless, the poor, those who had been disenfranchised. He's been a very active litigator on occasion, and he still continues to work with various clients. But he left the hustle-bustle metropolises of New Jersey, New York, to settle into our quaint little town here. So it's taken a little while, but he has settled in, and we claim you as one of our own. And Bernard has been the leader of the Bristol Middle Passage since our formal inception, which was just 3 years ago. He's been a fair leader, a good leader, occasionally a very strict one. He's challenged us to debate, to produce, and make the best out of our small board of 12 members. All of us very, very active in this. He has guided us through a very arduous process. There are other people here that Bernard will make mention of that have helped us along the way. Some of our council people. I see Tony Texera and Tim Sweeney, and there are others. Aaron Lay, perhaps, Nathan Coloro, and Mary Perella. They were very instrumental in granting us this very important place by the water. But you need to hear from Bernard himself. So I'm going to ask you to come on up. I have the distinct pleasure to introduce to all of you Professor Dr. Bernard Freeman.
Thank you very much, Stephan. It's an honor and a privilege for me to act today as MC of this very august gathering, and I trust the same will be true for you when we are done. One of the things about being an MC is that you have to be kind of strict, as he said, and so I brought this hammer when we're going to have a number of speakers, and in your little booklet, if you've gotten it, there is a program, and we're going to follow that order after I introduce some of the dignitaries that we have here for today. And if you see me come up on the side here with the hammer in my hand, that's a message to the speaker that their time is up, because we want to be able to have about an hour and a half program, and then afterward we'll have a public reception here. In the back we have cookies and water and other soft drinks and things for you to meet and mingle with each other. We're also going to have at the end of the program a series of photo ops here. Once the sculpture, which we're very proud of, is unveiled, there will be a number of people who will want to take photos with the sculpture in the background. We want to start with the board, and then other important dignitaries who are here, and then we'll have to have, we have one board member, Charles Edwards, who will probably supervise that, and all of you will have an opportunity to take photos with the sculpture. But an important thing to know is that this sculpture is now here for 100 years at least. So if 100 years at very least. So if you don't get a chance to take a photo with your favorite person, don't worry, you can come back tomorrow or the next day, any fair day, and you'll be able to do that. So the first thing I want to do is to have all the members of the Bristol Middle Passage Port Marker Project, the Board of Trustees, Board of Directors that we have, if we could all have them either stand up or wave. There are 12 of us. In some religions, 12 is an important number, but we did not choose that number. But these people that you see standing up and waving, we sacrificed, fought, argued with each other, supervised each other to some extent, supervised the engineers, and they are well-deserved. The congratulations that all of you are going to give to us today are well-deserved. We also have Senator Jack Reed with us today, who will be talking and giving some talk. And next to him is Congressman Gabe Amo, who will also give a keynote talk today. And then we have a number of people I want to recognize who are here, who will not talk, but are important and have given us support and guidance along the way. Starting with Katrina Brown. She is producer and director. There was a film made called Traces of the Trade many years ago, and it was that film which really was the catalyst for this project. And Katrina Brown was the producer and director of that film. It's a documentary film about the DeWolf family's journey of discovery and their family's roots and deep involvement in the slave trade. What we're going to, some of you already know, but we're going to talk to some extent today about Bristol's involvement in the slave trade. And we're going to recognize and memorialize that today, but also use it as a jumping off point for the other side of the slave trade, which is abolition. And when we get done today, we're going to make sure that all of you can call yourself an abolitionist, a person who is against those kinds of things that the slave trade had represented. This is not a ceremony to make people feel guilty or bad or sorry about what happened. What happened is what happened. We are here to recognize it and to move forward with a positive effort in terms of what's happening. In addition to Katrina Brown, we also have Charles Roberts, who is sitting here in front. He's the founder of the Rhode Island Slave History Medallion organization, whose mission is to highlight and make known significant sites related to slave activity through Rhode Island. We have at least one judge here today, I'll be right with you, Judge Tresvant. Is he here? He's a judge of the District Court of Rhode Island. And I want to make sure, are there any other judges here in the group that I don't know because I'm a newcomer to Rhode Island? I have some students who are judges, but the one judge I thought she would come, she had to cancel. Any other judges? I want to make sure we don't miss any judges. As a lawyer, that's important. Right? And then we have Keith Stokes, who is a Rhode Island historian laureate and member of the 1696 Heritage Project and Black Heritage Society. Keith Stokes is here somewhere in the audience. We also have Ray Rickman, who is ex-director of the Stages of Freedom. As I understand it, runs a bookstore in Providence on the African American history in Rhode Island, and teaches children to learn swimming and does other cultural programs for children. We want to especially recognize the members of the town council, the Bristol Town Council, who voted twice, at least twice, to sponsor this project. First, to set aside the land, and we presented to them a design, and then we had a competition. And after the competition, 3 sculptors made the finals, and then Spencer Evans won the competition, and you'll see why when we unveil the sculpture. And then he presented the project to the town council, and then the town council, the first time we presented, we had 1 abstention. The second time we presented, it was unanimous, largely because of Mr. Evans, Professor Evans's presentation. So those town council members are Nathan Coluro, Mary Corella, Tim Sweeney, Tony Texera, and Aaron Lay. And they deserve a big round of applause, because without the town council, we could not have accomplished it. We also have some town administrators and officials who are with us. Steve Contente, the town clerk, Melissa Cordero, and the head of Parks and Recreation, Warren Rinshausen. So a round of applause for them as well. Okay. I've been asked to recognize also Jody Andrade, who is head of a foundation that was our first grant. And we started everything off. When we started this project, we had 0 money. zero support. And the board members, some of whom are no longer on the board, but they're recognized in your program, we stuck with it. We were really focused on what we wanted to do, and you'll see at the end of the program today that it was a very good result. We have several state legislators. Susan, if they're here, we expected them. Susan Donovan, June Speakman, Linda Ujupusa, and Pam Loria. They gave us support during this project. Senator Theide, is he there? A state senator. Is he here? Right there? Very good. Are there any other public officials who want to be recognized who were support? I don't want to. I'm a newcomer to Rhode Island, so I don't know people by face. So Susan Donovan, I mentioned her name. Is she here? Susan Donovan? Right over there. Okay, very good. The Secretary of State, Greg Amor, he should have recognized, told me he was here. Greg Amor is here, Secretary of State. Rumor has it, he might soon be governor. So, I hope I didn't embarrass you, Mr. Secretary. All right. Any other public officials? Want to make sure. All right, so now we'll start our program. And the first thing, there are two figures that you will see in this sculpture. One is an African, and the other is a Native American, specifically a woman who posed for the sculpture. Sculpture is from the Pokanoket Nation, and the Pokanoket Nation occupied this area, and so the sculpture recognizes that. They were also enslaved or sometimes massacred and sent to the Caribbean and to Cuba to work. And so they have suffered as a result, and there's great impact of the slave trade on that group. From the beginning, in pursuit of the memorial sculpture, our strongest partners have been the Pokanoket tribe. Sakim Tracy Dancing Star and her father, Sagamore Winds of Thunder, William, are with us today, and they have been with us all along. Particularly at this site, more than 2 years ago, when we staked our claim with posting a temporary sign here in the park. Today they are with us again, as we solidify and mark Bristol's history together in honoring our African ancestors and those of the Pokanoket people who were harmed by what was called King Philip's War more than 400 years ago at Mount Hope here in our town. Remarkably, the lands they lost, at least a portion of them, have now been returned to its rightful owners, and once again, they became the rightful stewards of the lands and waters of the Pokanoket country. We are proud to stand with our partners, the Pokanoket Nation, and ask them to make their own offerings on this important day. Please join me in welcoming Sakim and Sagamore, Tracy Dancing Star, and William, as I would ask them to come to the stage. Thank you.
Isak, Wani Payak Ok Pokanoket, Akiak, Natai Humanak, Akiak, Uchi, Muchi Kinane Pas, Hatak. Welcome to the ancestral and traditional homelands of the Pokanoket tribe. Our ancestors have been on this land for more than 10,000 years before colonization. And the Creator put our people on this land to care for it and to live in peace, balance, and harmony with it and everything on it. And I would like to acknowledge my ancestors who did just that. And I would also like to acknowledge the Pokanoket people today who are still trying to restore balance back to these lands and waterways. Aho.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here today as we gather not so much to commemorate, but to acknowledge an often overlooked and painful part of our shared history. For to live in a free society means that truth is not suppressed but spoken openly. By acknowledging the past, however tragic, we gain the wisdom to reflect, to learn, and to guide ourselves through the turbulence of today's storms. The name of the state was once Rhode Island and Providence Plantation. It is a fitting name for those who wish to recognize the real origins of this country. Not the comforting myths, but the hard truths which are so often omitted. For the 17th century marked the beginning of one of the largest and most tragic human trafficking operations in history. Millions of people were enslaved crossing the Atlantic, not as free men and women, but as properties. And these actions not only shackled Africans in chains, but also ensnared the hearts of those who profited from their suffering, making them prisoners of greed, blind to the very morals and liberties that Roger Williams envisioned when he sought to establish a colony in these lands. But these colonists did not come to vacant shores. The indigenous people had lived on this land for over a millennium, and they were far from few in number. Indeed, it had not been for the devastation of epidemic disease, the European settlers might have been overwhelmed by the surrounding indigenous nations and disappeared like the lost colony of Roanoke. Yet, when most people imagined the encounters between the Europeans and the indigenous nations of New England, they think of romanticized images of Thanksgiving. Slavery is not the first topic that comes to mind. Few realize that indigenous slavery predates African slavery in these lands. For at least a century before the Pilgrims' arrival, opportunistic European sailors preyed upon the indigenous people here. In 1614, Captain Thomas Hunt kidnapped dozens of indigenous men from these shores, including the man history remembers as Squanto, one of the most infamous examples of such cruelty. These acts made our people understandably suspicious and often hostile toward Europeans. Had the Pokanokets, yes, Pokanokets, for there were no Wampanoag before the English came, under the leadership of Massasoit Osamequin, not forged a defensive alliance with the Pilgrims, Plymouth Colony would not have survived. A generation later, Osamequin's sons saw that the English settlers were no longer few in number. They no longer sought brotherhood but dominance. One son, Massasoit Metacomet, whom you call King Philip, rose to resist. He sought to defend the sovereignty not only of the Pokanoket, but of all the indigenous nations of New England. Outgunned, outnumbered, and betrayed, Metacomet fell, and his people, the Pokanoket, drank deeply from the colonists' cup of vengeance. They were subjected to what the Romans called denamato memoria, a deliberate attempt to erase their very name from history as a warning to the surviving indigenous people. Those who did not escape to the protection of other tribes faced either death or enslavement. In the wake of the King Philip War, New England practiced wholesale indigenous slavery of the Pokanoket, Narragansett, and Nipmuc, and other indigenous people deemed threats to the colonies. And many of our people were sold abroad in the expanding Atlantic slave trade. The Barbados Act of 1675 was even passed out of fear that enslaved Africans and the indigenous captives from the King Philip conflict might unite in rebellion. Others remained here as indentured servants who, like the enslaved Africans that toiled beside them, were dehumanized, stripped of their culture, and forced to assimilate into a society that never saw them as equals in dignity, virtue, or liberty. And yet we endured, we resisted, for resistance takes many forms, from breaking tools, running away, preserving stories, to passing down ancestral knowledge in whispers from one generation to the next. Even Metacon's own son was sold into slavery in Bermuda, destined for a short, harsh life under the burning Caribbean sun. Yet he survived. He carried forward his people's name, passing it down to Simeon Simons and Susan Simons, his granddaughter, who was married to George Frederick Whedon, to Otis Whedon, my grandfather, and Esther Whedon, my mother, who was married to Clifford Warren Guy, who was another Pokanoket in time to me. I stand before you as a descendant of that boy history tried to forget, but he resisted because he survived. I still know who I am. My descendants know who they are, and I am here, proud to stand here today and say, I am Pokanoket. Arutash! Stand firm. Slavery. Slavery in any form or time can never be justified. It violates the fundamental truth that freedom is the natural condition of the human spirit. And so as we look upon the statue, let us not see only a victim to be pitied, but a symbol of resilience. Both indigenous and African people resisted their oppression and carved out a place for their descendants in this land. They were not silent. Their memory lives in our blood, their spirits in our breath. Many of us stand here today because they did not yield, but endured. Their spirits remain free. Their descendants remain free. And it is freedom that we honor and celebrate today. Thank you. Aruta! Stand firm.
This is indeed a celebration today. And whenever we have a celebration or anything of importance, we, as a people, we honor the Creator, we give thanks to the Creator, we honor our ancestors. And we don't care how long it takes, but I understand we are under a timeline here. I'm looking at this hammer. So what we're going to do is our drum, the heartbeat, they're going to sing one song, and it is a memorial to those who have crossed over before us. So we're going to sing that song, but then a little later, we're going to sing a couple of more songs because we just have to deliver ourselves in a good way to the Creator and to our ancestors. So afterwards, we're going to sing a couple of more songs of thanks, a couple of honor songs. And while we do that, please get up and walk around. You do not have to remain seated while we do that. And then after we're done with that, we'll sing some songs for our enjoyment, everyone's enjoyment. So, drum, please.
Yahweh, hi, Yahweh. Yahweh, hi, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Yahweh, Yahweh, Aho!